I found out how much it costs to book a, you might have searched this also, below deck charter.
Oh, yeah, of course. Bryn and I have looked heavily into how much it costs and the tip and everything. We're like, this is... Yeah, how... Anyway, right, let's start. This is outrageous. Welcome to episode 69. No comments, Gary. Welcome to another episode of the UK's #1 trail running podcast, Tea and Trails. My name is Eddie Sutton, VO2 max of 52. My Garmin has said it's 52 for about 6 years. It's never gone up, it's never gone down.
Well, my name is Gary Thwaites with a VO2 max of 62. It's all lies, Eddie. It is all lies. I said in our WhatsApp group chat, although it said 62, I'm pretty sure that would be like a 2.5 hour marathon prediction time. But the same device, my lovely Garmin 62 VO2 max, but a marathon predicted time of 3:45. So yeah, it's all lies. This week we are joined by Huw Williams and Sophie Power, and we get the lowdown on the awesome SheUltra. It must have been a massive success because the 2025 event has had over 700 entries already. We see what you've been up to on Strava, share tales from the trails, and we have a pair of Sunto Wing headphones to give away. Thank you to our Patreon partners who share some awesome discount codes with our Patreons. We have Precision Fuel Hydration, Veloforte, Protein Rebel, Tiki Boo, Mountain Fuel, Outdoor Active, Silver Sweden, Active Route, The Centurion Running Store, Sportshoes.com, Big Bobble Hats, X Miles, Fawnside Farm Cottages, Hugo Group Projects, Hellfire Events, Red Bear Sports, The Alban App, Retainer Group, Psycho Protection, Summit Crazy, Beat It Sports, Lumi Activewear, Phoenix Lights. When you said that last week, it reminded me of Peter Kay's Phoenix Lights. Maybe we should say Phoenix Lights UK or something like that. And Ultra Trails too. Extra shout out to Precision Fuel Hydration, Veloforte, BT Sports and Protein Rebel. You know, we use their products every month to help fuel, hydrate and recover. More Patreon perk news. Bridgedale socks are offering our patrons 20% off. Now, George commented on my threadbare socks the other day, so I might just abuse my Patreon perk and get myself some Bridgedale socks. It's my birthday soon. It's a classic middle-aged man birthday present, isn't it? So yeah, sock deets, yeah. Do you go no show, ankle, crew or a calf sock, Eddie? What's your sock deets?
I don't like a no-show because then it gets... When I was younger, when I was teenage Eddie, definitely no-show. Now I'm a little bit older, I like an ankle. A crew is a crew like a bit longer?
Yeah,
no,
three-quarter length.
That just accentuates my Jack Grealish calves, as the kids call it. I go for the ankle because it gives a little bit, it stops the stuff getting in, but I think it still makes my fine ankles look all right in my Instagram shots.
Crew's the hipster look though, isn't it? Crew's very popular these days.
If you're cool, you can wear that, but I'm not. So I
wear the crew cut for Gary.
Well, there we go.
If you'd like to save some money, support the podcast and our partners, then please consider joining Patreon. We couldn't do this without you guys. Also, pop over to Summer Crazy if you'd like to buy some awesome Tea and Trails merch.
Thank you to Precision Fuel Hydration and Silver Sweden for sponsoring this week's show. Always super grateful for your support. Don't forget to pop over to Precision Fuel Hydration, book in with the sports scientists, or maybe read some incredible case studies. I hear there's a new one up in town. Pop over to precisionhydration.com. If
you are a patron, you get 15% off over Precision Fuel Hydration, and anybody can get 15% off their first order with the code T24. Super simple, T24. And yes, my Manchester Marathon case study is live. If you are interested, I'll pop a link in the show. I'll pop a link in the show notes. Great feedback, actually. I hit all my targets, so gold star with that. I would love a proper sweat test because how I feel when I'm running, it's quite subjective. There's no real data behind it. So an accurate sweat test, that will give me some great knowledge moving forward. Book yourself in with one of their sports scientists. Said it loads. This is not a perk for Eddie and I. This is not a podcast perk. Anybody can book in for a free
Are there
call.
any podcast perks apart from having to share our bodily functions? Getting to hang out with you, that's the biggest perk.
That's enough. Don't get greedy. How's it going? How's it going?
going? I just roasted myself for an hour. Hilarious. My friends are doing their long runs and I was so tempted to join, but you insisted we did the podcast, something about
I'm ready now, I'm ready now.
I'm ready now, idea. I'm ready, let's go. So but sensibly, like, that's good. An hour is fine. I'm able to run an hour now, run the hills, little bit more speed going down. The first time I ran up like a proper hill here, when I turned around to run back down, I was like, my IT bands are singing a song. But slowly that turnaround, like the initial steps downhill, has got a little bit more fluid. So they're doing their long run. So I just roasted them because I only had an hour. Come on, let's chat in. Come on, let's go. Now I've sat down. We're going to sit down for 4 hours and I will not be able to stand up. But yes, our runs are back on the menu, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy that I took it real slow to build back up. An hour feels just about fine now. I can get up a hill. When you only do like half an hour around here, you don't really get anywhere. You literally run up 500 feet, turn around and run down.
Because if you run up a steep hill, like a mile could easily be half an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't. You just can't get anywhere. So you need an hour. Really, I need like 90 minutes, and then I actually can get into like the best bits of the mountain. So I'll be building back up to that. But I'm being quite strict. You guys will see it on Strava. For a couple of days, I'll be strict and it'll get slowly longer and longer. I carried on hiking with the kids. We had a little race downhill, Gary. So we got a really steep hill right near our house.
You're not a competitive family, are you, Eddie?
Oh, not at all. Just not in our, it's not in our nature. Not in our nature. So I gave the kids a little head start to come down this bit of, why did I give them a head start? What was I even thinking? I didn't even see them. They went off downhill and now even Evie, it's switchbacks. Okay, but they were sitting down at the bottom of the hill by the time I got down. And
rubbing your nose in it.
They said, I thought you were a trail runner, Mum. I was carrying the coats, but that's really my only excuse. And I do need probably 2,000 meters to warm up into a really good downhill. And the kids are electric downhill. They've got lower legs, Gary. They've got like lower center of gravity. Yeah.
They've still got all the collagen.
They still got all their collagen and not rusty old legs like me. They've gone back to school now. Hooray. So they were happy. They had enough of hiking boot camp by the weekend. Evie was like, can I have a cushion to sit on my bum? I destroyed their glutes, so they were happy. Back in the gym.
Oh, I can tell.
No,
guns.
Let's see. When I leant forward to do something, maybe it was like a deadlift, and my stomach...
No way.
Yeah, I could get like a double handful. No more chocolate. No more late night chocolate. Eddie, you need to get back in France, as we say, on my regime. That's it. I do not wobble.
I wonder how many people all over the world, because there's been some big races, obviously London Marathon, about 2 weeks now. Is it like, enough's enough? And
you get like, I love that. And you love it too. Like 2 or 3 weeks of like dirty stuff. And then no. I did some lateral raises and my bingo wings were like lower than the mirror. Right. No. So first couple of gym sessions I did, they were awful, Gary. I don't need to. I shouldn't. But I'm quite good at a press up, Gary. I always been able to do press ups, and before Northern Traverse I do a set of press ups to max rep. So I do some sort of like arm workout, and then I could do like between 30 and 40 press ups 4 times. So you go until your form goes. And at the weekend I had press ups on the menu and I did 15 and I was done. I was like,
how low do you go with your press ups?
How low do you go?
You touching your nose on the floor? Yeah,
nose to the mat till you smell the gym floor. It's amazing how quickly you lose that strength. Like, where's it gone? It's like, gotta use it or lose it, Eddie. Gave me a bit of a shock. Anyway, back at it. And the last week it felt pretty awful in the gym, and I would like pick up my normal dumbbell and then go, nope. Let's move down the rack, Eddie. This week, not quite back up the rack, but I felt like I was working out rather than just like holding stuff. But I'm still having not too big a week, just as I'm building the running too, just a reload rather than just a sort of hanging around. Yeah, back to running out. I think so. I ran an hour at the weekend. and I looked on like the Strava, like I've run that segment 1,046 times. How sad is that? Because I live in a valley, I only have one route to run basically every single day to get up into the mountains. I was running it like, it felt so much better than my couple of weeks before Northern Traverse up these hills, where I would be walking up some of those hills because I just didn't have eyesight. I don't think I realized how tired I was from the skiing and just being in the winter. I think I was really, really tired. I honestly was like, oh my God, my legs actually feel better than they did going into that race. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. Anyway, I'm really happy to be back on the trails, not too rusty, and I've got my Disney classics back on. Oh, awesome. Such a good place to be. The sun's coming up, the snow's going, and you've got classic, either Disney classics or Andrew Lloyd Webber radio. I'm easy. I can choose either.
Goodness me, our playlist could not be just like polar opposites, like 180 on the dial. Awesome.
What about you? Can you get a double handful of your stomach yet? Are you ready to start?
I could before the marathon. I know I've got my little nutrition pile just to the right there, and there was some peanut M&Ms in there, and I just was like looking down, and before I know it, I'd smashed the bag. But yeah, we're definitely a bit more mindful and moving away from that. But from running wise, yeah, another easy week. I did run every day though, which was a step up from the previous week. No structure, no workouts, just dog jogs. And that is partly because life went a bit wild. I've got a big deadline to move out of my little industrial unit. 17 years, Eddie, in that space. And that enables you to collect a lot of junk. So yeah, end of an era, to be honest, coming to an end. And I just really be super mindful. Instead of just running, doing what I want, going to the lakes, going to the moors, whatever, I actually need to focus and concentrate on doing this one important job. And you know what? I think from a physical point of view, it's probably a welcome distraction because, yeah, I would have ran a lot more. I might have even put some workouts in, and it is only still 2 weeks.
For sure you would.
100%.
You'd have put a workout on the day after if Garmin told you to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it is only like 2 weeks since Manchester, I think. So mindful that going to take the positives from what is a very mentally stressful situation, but physically a bit low down. I entered the London Marathon ballot. I don't want to count my chickens. I don't want to be too smug. I do think my time that I achieved in Manchester is good enough, but yeah, you never know. And it's been a record-breaking year for the ballot, so I just thought, stick my name in there. Fingers crossed. I've always got the good for age. I'm not too sure how they do it. If you get through the ballots and then you do the good for age, I'm not too sure how they sort it all out in the end. I had a birthday in the house. George turned 16. It's a big birthday. 16-year-old Chinese meal, lemon drizzle cake. Oh, Lisa smashed it with a cake. She could be on Bake Off with that. He went axe throwing with one of his friends from school, and I'm glad I didn't have to go. Yeah, Lisa took one for the team. 2 16-year-olds chucking axes. Yeah, pretty stressful. And Esme too. I'm giving you lots of family dates this week. Esme, end of year ball, sixth form, doing her A levels, and she got accepted to Edinburgh. She won't listen to this, but yeah, your dad's super impressed. Esme, yeah, accepted Edinburgh, and now what I think is really wonderful, she's got 3 uni offers, and that we don't all have choice in life. I've noticed as I grow up, and some things you just got to suck up and do. She's going to be 18 soon, and she's got choice, and I just think that is a wonderful place to be. And I thought as a dad, when we had Esme's our oldest, and I thought as a dad, when we knew it was a girl, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to be like a nightmare dad, when she starts bringing potential partners home and talking about leaving home. And yeah, that's going to be emotional. She's not waving goodbye to us yet, but I just visualize when I moved away from home and studied and went to art school. Oh my goodness me. I had the time of my life. Yeah. And she's going to be going to such a wonderful place, Edinburgh. Well, if she chooses Edinburgh, I think that's 90% what it's going to be. But yeah, fun times ahead, Esme. And we're all super proud of you. A heavy pivot. below deck costs. All of us love below deck on this podcast. And I thought, I was just sitting there last night watching
Which
Gary.
one are you on now? Gary? Gary.
Yeah, we're still with Gary. Oh my goodness, next week's episode where they smash the boat. Saw the little highlight of what's coming up. We're all like gasping with that. But yeah, I thought I'd Google it. How much is it going to cost for a charter? And they reckoned for a week it's about 175 thousand dollars or pounds. I can't remember what it is. And they normally do a 3-day charter, and there's half a dozen people per charter. So yeah, you do the maths. It's going to be like 2 or 3 grand.
Have you Googled
per
though? Go
person.
deeper. You need to go deeper dive and see the discount they get if it's recorded for below deck.
Oh, come on, Eddie. You've got to tell
No,
me that.
there's definitely deets out there. We did that quite a long time ago, but I think they get like quite a lot of money off if they get like, because we always say, why would they? Because they're always so rude about the guests. They're never shown in a good light. They're never like, why would you ever like agree to go on it? Because basically it's just going to be slagged off by everybody else on the crew.
Yeah, I don't remember any charter being 100% positive. And then there's the tip on top of that. Sometimes they're quite hefty.
Just a classic, your annual salary of 25 grand that you give to these people that have just been slagging you off and probably spitting and wiping. They're always wiping the bathroom with like a dirty towel. They're always, and I was like, oh, where's that towel been? They like do the toilet and then the basin.
I wonder if they'd be interested in the Tea and Trails Below Deck special.
Oh, podcast perk, Patreon perk. Competition winner.
10% off.
I need to get to the gym a bit before I get on my lying on that deck in my bikini in a few weeks.
I always thought there was the engineers seem to be quite the steady personality.
We love
of the
the
group.
engineer. Has he had a relationship with anybody yet? Is that what's happened?
No. He's had a tragedy though. His dog had to be.
Oh, that's awful, isn't it? That's awful.
My goodness me!
Don't worry, happiness comes, but there's a love triangle. I think that must be in the next series.
Goodness me! I did not expect that. Oh wow! And we're watching. This is absolutely awful.
We got so sad.
I got suckered into watching Roadhouse. I think it might be on Netflix or Amazon. I'm not too sure. Conor McGregor's in it. Oh. I'm all for. I love The Rock when he's moved over to be an actor. Who's the other one? That's Batista, the Guardians of the Galaxy dude. John Cena's okay.
No idea who you're talking about. Just keep
these are all like wrestlers, basically.
Okay.
No, legit successful actors. Conor McGregor, though. Oh God, he was a caricature of himself, and it was not very good. It was not very good. But for some reason, none of us could stop watching. It was quite entertaining. So that was my week. Nearly 52 miles if you count all the dog walks too. What is sad times in the Thwaites household. After I've done a big race, I always treat myself to a sugary treat, and I'm nearly out. Crunchy nut cornflakes.
That is, we do in the holidays. Do you remember where the kids are allowed to choose a cereal of their choice in the holidays? And the French cereals are terrible. They are off the chart sugar scale. So in the holidays, they're allowed a big box of Frosties or something. Lion, what is it? Honey Nut and Meal Pops. That's the one that's we're in the same boat. They're having a few. They're like this before school. Sugar cereal. Once that goes back on the boiled eggs, dry toast.
Normally I'd buy a box of it and smash it in a day. I've had one bowl a day.
Oh my God.
I give myself a headache. I have so much sugar. It just comes in too much. But that's my week. A bit of stress. But when I get rid of this, I visualize, some people say, oh, it'll be really emotional when you leave the workshop. Currently,
you just want to kick the door shut.
It seriously feels like a cage around me, this workshop. So when I'm released, the birds will just all leave the trees. It'll be awesome. Yeah, good week. No Brew with the coaches again this week. Hands up. Well, we have recorded 5 questions, so we've got lots to come.
They're good. They're good. Our team are good. They are so good, aren't they?
I love it, actually. I really, really love Brew with the coaches.
I wish we could do it like actually in a hotel. When you could book a conference room, we could sit there all day eating sandwiches and drinking tea and just and then we wouldn't be so rushed because we could because we do go off on tangents, hilarious tangents, don't we? But I'm always aware that people are giving up their time and we need to keep on track when we do it.
Maybe if we do a Tea and Trails live, we'll have a brew with the coaches.
Oh, no, Russell can never be live.
But we have recorded 5 questions. So thanks everyone who sent them in, and keep them coming because we will be sitting down again with the coaches. But I'm just super busy this week and I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm just not going to get it done. So hands up.
This week, we chat with Huw Williams and Sophie Power about the recently run and hugely successful SheUltra, ultra marathon for only for women, and it's advertised as open to women of all fitness levels, whether you're a seasoned runner, walker, or just starting your fitness journey. This is a chance to challenge yourself and achieve something truly amazing. And what they did achieve was truly amazing. When you hear about the amount of work that went into planning this ultra and how well it went and how well it was received, incredible. Kudos to anybody involved in this, and kudos to anybody who completed it. Here's our chat with Huw and Sophie. Sophie Power and Huw Williams join us today. Both have been on the podcast before, but we're going to have a chat about a different era today, a new era that has dawned as the dust has settled on the, what is it? What? Inaugural. No, that means that happens every year. What is something what is the word for something that's happened for the first time ever?
I think it is inaugural.
Is it inaugural?
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to the 1987 World Cup sticker album for rugby.
And it was called okay, good. I wanted to throw the word in, pretending I knew what it meant. So let's just throw it in. As the dust settles on the inaugural 2024 SheUltra, we thought it would be awesome to get together and talk about what sounds 100% success story. People getting together, doing what they love, and raising a tidy sum of money for charity too. Welcome to the podcast, Sophie, the founder of She Runs, and to Huw.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Sophie wants to eat her breakfast, so she's waiting until we ask Huw the question so she can start eating the question. So I'm going to ask Huw his question first. How are you, Huw, post SheUltra? How are you feeling as the race director? Really wiped out?
Very wiped out. You know, you've always got the takedown of the event afterwards physically and so on. But then because we opened entries at midnight on the Saturday.
You were quick. Wow, yeah. You didn't beat around the bush, did you?
No, we don't. I'm always quite eager to get things started. And I think because I've got a physical timeline as well, that's another reason for the urgency. On Sunday, I had to physically remove myself from doing things because it was like, wow. And then we've got two other events as well. I thought, right, I'm going to stop and, a bit of lean management, stop, take the dogs for a walk. And then that, so yeah, it's good. But it's been, like being on reception in Disney World and forgetting you were in work that day. And it's just like, but it's been brilliant. We've had, I think last count now was 916 signed up for next year.
Whoa.
We've just hit over £19,000 raised.
Those are the UTMB would pay a lot of money for those sort of stats of their races. That is incredible.
Won't happen. How we've done it, we've asked on the entries if you're a walker, if you're a hiker, if you're a runner. So as well as having the no cutoffs, that then helps us understand when to start each race. So rather than just waves within minutes, the waves are going to be within an hour. Say the walkers will start about 2 hours before the runners. So we're looking at around 1,500, and it's going to be the reverse route sort of thing. This year's event showed us that we've got the capacity without bottlenecks for 500 all at the same time. And then we were also able to, there was lots of behind the scenes things happening that we were able to facilitate in case something did happen. I'll go into that later on in the show. It's just been great. And we've got the foundation now to really raise some more funds and support for women's cancer charities, but also women within the endurance world who wouldn't even have it on their hemisphere before.
Oh, that is just, it gives me tingles, Huw. That is amazing. And Sophie, you took part in the race and then you spent 7 hours at the finish line handing out medals. We're going to ask you...
Well, not handing out medals, because you got the medal on the start line.
Of course you did. So were you just giving hugs? 7 hours of hugs?
I did 7 hours of hugs and smiles and crying, just seeing these hundreds of amazing women crossing the finish line and just sharing in all that emotion and chatting away and drinking a little bit of Prosecco. Yeah, it was honestly, I couldn't believe it was 7 hours by the time I kind of got the bus home, but it was just the most amazing finish line to witness, and all the kids crossing the line with their mums and them being so proud of them. I'll set you off, but honestly, I think as a spectator, kind of running the route, which was just beautiful, and then just seeing this kind of transformation and then talking to the women afterwards, it was just such an incredible day. I think we're all kind of so grateful to kind of Huw for creating this, and really, I think, changing the lives of so many of those kind of 500 women. Kind of 70% have never done an ultra before. Some have barely done more than 5K, and kind of changing their life in just a day.
Oh, that should be the tagline of the race. Change your life in just a day. You could get that on a trucker cap, Huw.
I want to put that on some shampoo. Change your life in one day. It's new honeysuckle blend of. But yeah, I came out with at the finish line before I went, because I was just symptomatic around 2:00 in the afternoon. I just had to go. I was like not well, but I came up with no cutoffs, only smiles. And my friend Rhea looked at me. She went, cheesy. I went, right.
I mean, it's a keeper.
That's a keeper. We'll have it.
Excellent. Well, if we could hear all about SheUltra, actually, why, Huw? Where did the idea come from? When was the seed planted?
A few of the listeners or the viewers will understand that, I was diagnosed in 2019 with inoperable neuroendocrine cancer. So that removed me from that life as an ultra runner and so on. But it also gave me an opportunity to really see sometimes what we miss whenever we progress as runners, or out of the mid packs and we're more in the forward. We don't see the armband years and so on, where people just want to give things a go. This was an event which I made specific, not a race. It's an event to take part in and enjoy the day. So you've got Race for Life, brilliant. Seen the moonwalk, and I just thought at one point somebody is going to put an all women ultra on, but they won't attach a charity like women's cancer charities.
Okay.
And so we raise money for women with cancer, women who survived cancer, lost somebody's cancer, or my wife who's living with somebody with cancer, and it's given us that platform. And we've been putting on the events now for almost 9 years, and people know that we're a community feel. We're not just a big commercial organisation. I'm lucky in a sense that I've been able to see behind the scenes on big style races as being the organisational representative for ITRA. Last year went out to the Worlds, went out to Chamonix, and you're just looking at different ways, and also the other events in the UK and overseas that I've been to previously. And I just wanted to really go, belts and braces, and just really give the razzmatazz of a big event, but also the security and I'd even banned myself from registration because it was just women only, women safe spaces, because it's so needed. And these are the women that, as Sophie was saying, 75% have never done anything like this before. And they might not do anything like that again, but they might come back and do it next year on a different route. So it's about that, but also, just raising the money for the smaller cancer charities that just get missed out. And I know firsthand with being, stage 4 inoperable cancer, where these little women's cancer charities are and what's required from it. But I wanted to bring that in. And also, with the She Races guidelines that we'd already put in place with our other events, we added the local policewoman for domestic violence was in the registration, and she had about 60 women come up and ask for more information for a friend.
Oh my goodness.
I think that shows, although we're facilitating something else, it gives that opportunity. All women in the aid stations, and sanitary products and hygiene products. Now, we did have a presence of men outside the aid station specifically in case there was an opportunist, because we offer you can sign up incognito, and quite a lot of the women did that. And what I didn't want was an opportunist to try and come in and maybe do something stupid. And by having a male presence outside, it put them off. Behind all that as well, we had the police who were travelling around in different. So the behind the scenes was something, because you just want the me time to for people when they're taking part in things, and not have anything buzzing around in their head. It's a testament to everybody who stepped on. That Sophie will say that some of the stories for the women that were taking part is just absolutely incredible. And we've been able to, we specifically haven't had a Facebook page for SheUltra once again, so it's safe spaces. So everything was going out in emails. And then when we'd have the guided recce's, those would be in WhatsApp groups. So it's safety like that. And then we put out some webinars and so on, just so it is inclusive and you're able to have that safe environment, which is so important, I think. Well, it showed.
How did you know all this though? Like from a man, I don't really think about those things, like say the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group, but yeah, you sign up for something and you probably sign something that your image can be used all over social media. Yeah, how did you have the knowledge to do this?
I think I'm very lucky, unlucky, whatever, two-sided, that I've brought in a SheUltra ambassadors team, and these are women who are elites, the likes of, say, Zoe Murphy, Nia Alberson, just done the Northern Traverse and so on, and also the mid-packers, but also the women who are going to be at the aid stations, or Gwen, who's 74, or Ange, who works in the local hospital. So I've been asking them directly, what would you want and what would you want to see? And then you're, rather than you saying, right, this is what we're going to do, it's like, please, can you tell me what you want in an event? And then we'll put it on. We'll facilitate this. And that's, the SheUltra ambassadors, it's sort of the platform of that's grown because they were backwards and forwards with the women on the course that needed company. They were also carrying an extra bag, if they needed anything like that. We had extra sanitary products in all the aid stations, as well as hygiene bags and so on. We've got the foundation now for the SheUltra ambassadors to do the fundraising side of things in between the events that we've got planned, sort of thing. So they're SheUltra.
We often talk about this, Eddie, don't we, about trackers and women being on their own, say maybe in the middle of the night. I wrestle with it because as a spectator and say I've been invested in watching Eddie's dot, so I do want to see where she's at. But yeah, you make a great point that if there is some like opportunist out there, how do you let people engage but then protect people too? Yeah, I suppose you've got to ask the competitors. I suppose there probably is that tech, isn't there? I know open tracking is probably the most popular platform. Yeah. You probably could be incognito or even maybe filter out who you want to see where you are on course. I'm sure they could do that.
Well, you just take your names off and you just take your names off the tracker. And I think a lot of women wanted to sign up to the race kind of incognito. And you see that in the results. There's lots of kind of women whose names aren't there. And it's kind of partially races. It's sometimes quite hard to explain to race directors, why this needs to be an option. And some of them see it as extra admin. And then you tell them the story of someone who's kind of abusive ex-boyfriend intercepted him in the middle of nowhere on an ultra. And then you say that the reason that a lot of women, kind of a minority of women, and we saw that 80% of women at this event felt the women-only nature was really important. And it's a much smaller minority that, needed it to feel safe. But these women are really important and we need to give everyone the opportunity to kind of complete these challenges. And something very simple, that taking your name off the start list, taking your name off a tracker, taking your name even off a finish list to show where you've been and what part of country you might be living in is really, really important. And it's a very small thing to do for a very big impact on someone's life.
In the lead up to it, we had open tracking send us the trackers the months in ahead, and then we will go into the blind spots of the event. And then you'll have noticed that there was specifically 2 women up on the headland, Shaz and Kate, who were up there, and they were specifically there because it just dragged for about a minute at that specific spot. So behind them as well, there was SheUltra ambassadors ready to come down, as well as, security in that area. That comes from like the Marathon des Sables mentality. You've got your tents, and then you've got the event team, and then you've got the actual army, and once you're hearing that, you're thinking, blimey, and I wanted that. And that's what we've got in all the races. It's very, very handy that both the police that are there have been. The thing is, if you get into a conversation with me, within a year, you'll find yourself doing about 100 miles and next to a gate. But both Arwel Pritchard, he's an ultra runner as well, and he's able to talk to the women about the course whilst he's there in his police, outfit. So, as well as Shoned, who was doing the women's stand for the police at the registration.
to the best of my knowledge, this is the first this type of race. You're there the day before you pressed entries open. Yeah, what was that like? And was it literally the next day you were overwhelmed? I know this year, yeah, massive response to 2025's entries, but what was it like?
I'd seen it. First times have to happen somewhere. And I think a lot of people nurture their ideas way too long until they just forget about them. And I'd seen it in my head. You know, whenever you're just so passionate about it, I thought, this is why isn't anybody doing this before? And we need to get it with the charity. You know, it's a vessel for the charity. This is what we're doing. And then I knew it'd sell out. Obviously, there was some bits and I was thinking, blimey. Blimey. You know, when you're sort of like puppy excitement dips and you go, hang on, I'm just going to be an adult for a minute.
Yeah. Story of your life.
No, it's, you know, and as we were talking about next year's, you know, we're almost at sellout. We've got, you're hearing this first, penciled in for next year is the SheUltra Ireland, and that will be helping women's cancer charities in Ireland. Capacity of 400. We'll be releasing the entries later on next month, but that's in Downpatrick, nice and flat, backwards and forwards. We're taking a handful of the SheUltra ambassadors, once again, walkers, hikers, runners, on the ferry across. They're going to meet up with the SheUltra Ireland ambassadors that Diane from Atlas Running is recruiting in, and then they're going to be doing that. There's possibly going to be 2 women's, because like Personalize like got a big sailing community, so we're possibly going to race a couple of yachts with all women crew over to Stanford Lock with 2 of the runners,
me up,
the hikers, and then off they go to the start line with the SheUltra flag, like a kind of Olympic passive. But it's also about, there's more than, you know, the SheUltra's the platform, you know, we can now do and support other things that SheUltra is like, you know, your mobile phone just isn't a phone. So what else can we help with the SheUltra? We saw, you know, the Ascend athletes, which was incredible. There was a lot of work that went into that getting 2 refugees from Afghanistan who came over, and, you know, we hosted and give them free places, but then they're inspiring, you know, the refugees from Afghanistan in their network.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing as well. What became very apparent was that because a lot of the women only are doing this once, they're not going to have all the kits and they're not going to want to buy the kits. So we've been working with the running charity, George Bate and them, since 2016, and we give them free places on our event. I was just thinking, when I was looking at my Hocker clown shoes colour, which are matching everything that I'm not matching on here, and I was thinking, you know, whenever you go into a 10-pin bowling and they give you your shoes, well, what if we could facilitate that for the SheUltra, where they come in and say, hi, I need a pair of shoes, or I need, you know, leggings, or I need this, or I need a first aid bag that I'm never going to use again, or a bag. So we're putting together that for...
Oh, they can do that. I know I've been to races, and maybe the motivation of the brand is to ultimately sell shoes. But if they flipped it to support the community, and maybe, they would sell some shoes off the back of it too. That is definitely, you can do that.
Yeah, because you get, you know, a lot of, as you say, the shoe manufacturers, they do these trial days where you can try them out. Well, what a better way than to put them on the feet of somebody there. But what we're asking for is people, whenever they're upgrading, bring your trainers or your shoes or some kits to our next event, and then we'll put that in, you know, for that, because it's all about making it as accessible as possible for everyone. And I think flipping the word race to event, that takes away barriers as well. And it's like, there's no cut off, and it makes it warm for people, because we had the Welsh News, and they said, can we have some of the women running along the beach in Llanbedrog? And I said, no, I'd like them just to be in their normal clothes, speaking as what they would, because if you're not a runner and you see people running on your, you know, social landscape, you're going to scroll off. But if you just see people with their clothes up that are normal day-to-day clothes, you say, what are they doing? And then you'll listen and you'll stay on a bit longer. So I didn't want the tail to wag the dog with the message sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a SheUltra Scotland?
SheUltra Scotland. I've got. It's always going to be done with local race directors. I think that's vitally important. And people that I know, so once again, through the ITRA community where I've met, or I know from just racing abroad. So I know Diane and her partner from Ireland. Portugal, we're going to have one as well. I was speaking with Janet earlier, Hong Kong, that they're interested, and also for for one in Greece. But we're going to do it country specific. And this is where, I'm trying to get the message across that sometimes whenever you go to a race, you're going as an individual and the family are just maybe staying at home or a partner's not involved. But with these, that are day events, you can go there for like a mini break, support the local community that you're going to, and also maybe, a group or a club's holiday abroad.
I've heard you talk about that before, the event tourism. It's really powerful, isn't it? Especially for small communities, yeah. And I do it with the lakes. I know which cafe I'm going to go back to every time I visit. Yeah,
you do.
It's super straight away. I don't know. Have you had any? Maybe it's not part of the SheUltra umbrella, but have you had any race directors getting in touch just for some? Maybe they want to do something under their platform.
I've reached out to people already about it, and for us to do it like that with the women's cancer charities of Portugal and so on. So around the Silves area in Portugal. So it's going to be SheUltra TM with the women's cancer charities of that country. So the guidelines, which, is the foundation from She Races, as well as other things that we've added, it'll be exactly the same. And it also, I think, if you're, a non-commercial, big UTMB sort of, race director, it helps then bring other people to think, oh, well, we'll go and do another one of their events, or another one of their events, and that's, I think it's a great way, especially with everybody worrying about UTMB taking over the world. It's like, well, these events, and it also gives you good guidelines then to follow for all your races with the She Races tick list that you've seen. This works.
And we've had quite a few race directors kind of come and chat to us after. I mean, we know that there's so many more ultras out there, and race directors, it's difficult at the moment, and there's a lot of races struggling to get people on the start line, and we work with the races to get more women on the start line and give women a better experience. And kind of where we're saying is actually there's a big chunk of women that are nervous. We can put all the She Races guidelines in, but creating that atmosphere of the kind of intro style ultra where you're fully supported. We know that kind of 90% of the women, the fully marked course was so important. The cutoffs, everyone, even kind of some of the faster athletes said that the cutoffs just took off all the pressure. And then a lot of women said, well, do you know what? I now feel ready to go into a mixed event. I now feel I've got a good sense of where I'm going to be, how long it's going to take. I've learned some lessons. I'm comfortable now. I'm going to go and sign up for the mixed event. So kind of for us, it's a real opportunity for race directors to get more women on their events by putting on their version of kind of SheUltra and working with Huw to the extra that it's kind of, we got the basic She Races guidelines, which kind of race directors sign up to. And then there's the longer guidelines, which kind of a lot of what is in the SheUltra is the extra kind of really going one step and beyond to make it accessible. And we've seen the success of things like kind of Events Do You Know, I think, put on a 25K, weren't getting that many women on the 50K, put on a 25K. And then suddenly the next year, the 50K is 50% women because they've learned from the 25K. This is just another way. And there will always be a minority of women that really only want to do races around other women. But I think these events are really a great stepping stone to exploring what else is out there.
Is it the first time you've ever run a race with just women?
Yeah. And,
what was that like?
Do you know what? I think it started at registration where I think there's the
noise level must have been off the chart.
Well, do you know what? Because registration was very calm and it didn't have it's obviously only women. It was very, very calm and it's just something felt different. But what really felt different was the start line and the amount of personal space I had on the start line. And there was no cramming forward. There was Huw had to actually try and get everyone forward to the start line. Everyone was just standing kind of like a step away from others. there was no toilet queue. There were loads of toilets. We love that. But I think, and everyone was like, why does this feel strange? People that have been at races before. And it really was, I think, kind of everyone just let their guard down. And you don't do it kind of on purpose. You do it naturally when you're just in that environment. And it just felt so friendly and so different. And I do mixed races. I'm very happy mixed race. I do not like getting squished in start pens. But I'm very comfortable. But this just felt like such a lovely day out. And when your coach puts 20 miles on your program for the next day and you can't go very fast because you've got to go and run 20 miles the next day, thanks, Eddie. I had a great time chatting and kind of aid stations and meeting all these amazing women. And I think the finish line was just, as I said, it was just so special. And I think women, a lot of the feedback we had was women just found that time to meet new friends and have conversations about things like menopause, about things like pelvic floors, about how they're struggling with their childcare, their carrying responsibilities. And we all know that when you run an ultra, you can talk about, you find someone you've never met before and you'll tell them something about you your best mate doesn't know. It's just what you love. And I think to have other women doing that with and going through something together was really special from what we're hearing. So it was different. Do I only want to do women only races? No. And I did, for me, it meant there were far fewer people around running than I would normally have. So it was some great time my own, and I tried to run in a group, but there weren't many people up there. So I like that about ultras having kind of men around as well. But it did create this very special atmosphere, and I think people kind of said they just didn't feel any pressure because there was no. I mean, Zoe took off at the first corner. We didn't see her all day, but other than that, there was no real racing, and not everyone's out. I think we looked at the survey we did, and women want to push themselves. We want to set PBs. We want to check a challenge. We want to really push ourselves, but we don't necessarily want to do it against others. We want to do it as our own challenge. And I think without people that were trying to race you, you had that atmosphere that you could just push yourself, get to the end, and getting across that finish line was a success. But with the medals at the start line, I think for many women did represent the challenge to get to the start line and the training and the fitting everything in, the juggling and the getting the support for a lot of these women, and for many overcoming huge health difficulties. That was the success, was just being on that start line. The challenge was the victory lap.
I love that. I love that was honoured, because Sophie, you and I know that just getting to the start line is often the most exhausting bit of organising everything else to leave home, the kids and everything. And then you actually get to the start line and you go, oh, it's easy bit now. It's a 200-mile race. I can do that.
All you have to do is look after yourself.
And
then and then you might have someone like Gary looking after you and feeding you as well. Like, I mean, it is the easiest thing is putting one foot in front of the other. The hardest thing is actually doing the training and the sorting out so everyone else is okay while you go and put one foot in front of the other. And I think the medal, I mean, it was a bit of extra weight in my pack, thanks you.
Yeah. I'd be raging about, I'd have made someone else carry it.
Well, but do you know what? It means so much more that I've carried that medal around the whole course. It does mean a bit more.
I think as well, the medal, because of everything that you explained, and it's also symbolic of the women with cancer or the women we've lost to cancer, and you're carrying them close with you. And I thought that's you're getting goosebumples when you're thinking about putting this on. A few people said, oh, well, I want it at the end. This is what about the end? And then speaking with them afterwards, they got it. They understood that it was because of this, because of that. But yeah, it's symbolic. And the Llyn Peninsula, we were reliant on tourism. A lot of the time people get as far as Llanberis and then they think, well, this is all the beauty we can take. And they don't come down to the Llyn.
It's an overload.
Too much Welsh cake and beauty.
And so for having this, the SheUltra won't go anywhere else in the UK for the foreseeable, because it's like London. You wouldn't put London somewhere else. It's like, we want people to come and see this sort of thing. And the Louise little statue, I don't know if you can see that. She's on a rock at the first aid station. It's just, that was symbolic of, it could mean so many different things, just the bareness of the female form and just everything. So yeah, we were just so lucky with the weather.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And the DJ at the start, it was a big party at the finish line, where DJ played different tunes for everyone coming in, and it was all the kids playing on the beach, and it was just a brilliant. I mean, I think kind of had the weather gods been slightly different, it would have been a bit soggy, but I don't think it would have taken the smiles off people's faces. But there would have been less ice cream sold at the finish, I think.
We're talking a lot about barriers that women face to get to ultras. Huw and Sophie, you've both been sort of pioneers in this field. Let's just turn the question around a little bit, perhaps, and say men, obviously lots of men listen to the podcast as well, and they might be thinking, why can we not have a SheUltra, a He races? Why is this just for women? Is there an answer to that question?
You've got the likes of, say, Kevin Webber, who's got prostate cancer and has been an ambassador for prostate cancer and so on. And there's blokes walks and there's, men's events like that sort of thing. So I'm talking on a man's point of view. I'm not Mr. Alpha Male. If there was a charity or a destination, if I was well enough, then I'd do it. But for a male, I wouldn't, I'm not fussed if I'm running mixed or with a male. That, it's just, I think what was very apparent was it was the me time for a lot of the women, especially the local girls that I know very well. It's just getting some me time, and having an excuse to go for a walk and so on, and not having to do this and that. And, we're still not as partnered as we should be with some family dynamics, that it is the women that are the glue rather than the men. So I'm just taking a punt here. Some men, if they want to do it, but some men might have just said it just to be a little bit, well, what about us? So I want to say something on the computer for the sake of saying something on the computer.
And they did. And the best one was the guy that complained about having a fully marked course being cheating. And then I looked at his socials, and on his wrist was this beautiful high-tech GPX watch that obviously most of the women didn't have. And it's like, well, of course you don't mind the fully marked course, because your Garmin will go beep, beep, beep. I think it's, and I think there are an absence of safe spaces for men to talk about their feelings and issues. I don't think this is changing any of that. I think, when we ran the survey, and we've obviously run huge surveys for She Races and understanding women, and I think this survey has been really interesting, getting kind of a lot of women that maybe weren't in our original survey and kind of talk about themselves as kind of being invisible and never really listened to. And what really comes across is in a mixed race, the women aren't really impacting on the men. Whether there are a few women there, because generally there aren't many of us there. We're not changing the men's race being there. I mean, you get the comments kind of like nice ass when they've been kind of hiking behind you. You get the comments. We don't give men those same comments. We don't make men feel less safe. We typically don't push men off the course. Men aren't scared of us. And there are a lot of women that were in this race that are scared of being close to men because of what's happened in their lives. And when they're around men, they feel under pressure. And all this race does is create an opportunity for another section of society to be able to achieve something for themselves. And so that's where I think having this women-only space was so important, because it doesn't take anything away from the mixed races, and women don't take anything away from the mixed races, but you add men into that space for a majority of these women, and it changes that space for them. For me, this was so inclusive, and it just gave so many women more confidence. And I really hope that kind of race directors, that the She Races guidelines can only go so far. So we can have we say you've got to have a culture of no harassment. You can't have these comments being made. You've got to penalise if that happens. You've got to have kind of the women fit T-shirts, the equal prize money, the imagery diversity and of the marketing. And kind of when we talk to these women, why have you been put off from doing races? A third just said, we do not feel we belong at what's out there already. We want something where we feel that we belong. There's always going to be backlash. There's always going to be men that kind of say, well, we don't want you to have a space. But I think what I've learned so much kind of working with Huw on this, and ever since we kind of met in Chamonix last year and talking to these women, that there's such a need for this space to exist. I'd love to see, I know Hugh's not going to run any more SheUltras in the UK. There's a lot of women that can't get to Wales. I'm sure people will learn and put some other races on that are very much intra-star without the cutoffs and try and create these female-only spaces, because for a lot of women, they're really important. It's not for every woman. And we've had backlash from women who say, this is actually kind of patronizing, kind of not having a cutoff. And I think we have to acknowledge that every woman is different and we want different things. And we all have a valid opinion. And we can create lots of different events. If you want to go and do Spartathlon where they're going to cut you off at 50 miles and you value the fact that you got to that point, great, you go do that. Don't take away from the woman that's done a 5K before, that thinks that a marathon's quite scary because it's got a cutoff and wants to walk and wants to achieve something for herself. Do not take that away from her, because if she completes that, that will change her life and that will inspire kind of the rest of the people around her.
I think what comes across from both you, Sophie, and Huw is this is just the start. You guys have started something incredible. You've sown the seed of something. You took the first dig into the ground, which is the hardest bit to do, and you've put that seed in there. And not knowing, perhaps it's almost been a little bit frightening as well as how much this is needed and how many barriers there are, but how many women, like, gosh, you 941 or something have already entered for
916.
916.
Most race directors would buy your arm off for that many entries. And people say women don't want to do hard things, and that I'm just be quoting that to everyone, say women do want to do hard things if you give women the right place and the right opportunity to do hard things. And exactly. Everyone's worried it's selling out, you.
And I think, for any race directors that are watching this, you've got Sophie at She Races, you've got myself at SheUltra. I'm more than happy to help advise other other race directors that want to put on, not SheUltra because it's irreplaceable, this is on its own journey, but because if you're going to help a charity, this is the lovely thing about race directors in ultra running. We're all pals, we're all mates. And if it can help generate, a stepping stone into your other events or empower women or just have a great day out, I'm 100% about helping people, because it gets, the bigger picture is for everyone, it gets people outside. I've lost half my volunteers already for next year because they've all said, Huw, can we have our free place, please? SheUltra, we've, a mass exodus. So we've lost everybody who was at the aid station, the first aid station, they've signed up. Fran and all her friends, they've signed up. Sandra and all her friends. And then Mary Lou, incredible rice pudding. Her daughter Karen and her daughters signed up. They get their free places. But Karen was telling me, Cassie won't even go to the shop with her mum. But because she's seen this, she thinks, I want to do that. We've got for insurances, and we're lucky where we live. We've got a policy with, no under 18s because it's insurance. However, if we know who you are, and your daughter, and you say, I'm going to take full responsibility and see how far my daughter wants to walk with me, of course they can have a free place. We'll give them their little tracker.
That.
They can speak to the school. That. We had little Awel Pritchard, my next door neighbour, Dolan, his daughter, and she walked with her Auntie Sophie 18 miles. She's 11.
Wow.
She's 11, and she just went for a day out. And I think it's the grassroots where, they're not having these, as you say, the expensive Garmins or whatever. It's like, I'm just going to do that. And then before you know it, they're doing
they're on Strava, they've got a Garmin.
Anything about the checkpoints. I mean, have you saw these checkpoints? And I mean, I've seen a lot of checkpoints in my life, and these checkpoints were made with so much love and care. and every single kind of sweets and homemade cakes and sandwiches. And I mean, I remember like when I took my five-year-old did a Maverick race, and his face at the checkpoint, and this is like 5 times the size. And I have to tell me the boys can't do it. But when my 3-year-old daughter's old enough, she'll be absolutely on this, because if you can go, it's basically an all-day picnic, but a really good picnic. So yeah, I think we could sell this on just the food, to be honest. It was really good. It was so good. The volunteers were phenomenal.
How much has the event raised so far?
Just over £19,000 for women's cancer charities. That's all been done with donations to the women that are taking part. And I think that's lovely. We've already been able to donate £1,000. One of the SheUltra ambassadors, Holly McFarlane, she's wrote a book called Sometimes Mummy Feels, and it's a book for children whose mums are going through cancer treatment. And it just explains a little bit about that. So I bought £2,500 worth of them. We've got about 600 of them. So the Osborne Trust, we were able to donate £1,000 because they helped, Holly on her journey. And what we're doing as well is the SheUltra ambassadors, not a race or anything. The Welsh Government have said, the waiting time is only 3 weeks from, going to the doctors with, if you're not quite sure with something not feeling right in your breasts, to getting your scan and so on. That's only supposed to be taking 3 weeks, which isn't happening in Wales. So we're going to be doing a walk, run, jog in different relays from all the cancer centres in Wales, all the way down from Bangor to Cardiff, but along the way giving the books to the different cancer centres, so mums can take them home with them and say to the little ones, or say dads are there that they want to give it as well. So it's the SheUltra has given us the platform, and that's I've always talk about the events are a gate for so many things, not only.
That's a better. I tried the seed analogy. I think the gate is much better.
Okay. Once it's open, there's directions, and going back to other race directors that wanted to put on an all-female one, or people who aren't race directors that are watching this that think, I want to do something like that. Give myself a shout, or give Sophie a shout. You'll have your community behind you, because especially if you're in a community like the Llyn Peninsula, where we're so reliant on the endurance tourist. And what happens is, with the free recce's, you'll get a couple of extra visits a year. From it, we were having people come up from Southampton to do 5 miles, and it was like, oh, you coming here to see your friends? No. I was like,
love it.
Bloody hell. But it's like, people travel from all over the world and the country to do London. What a great way to have your family time as well, or your partner's time, or lots of running groups, Skelmersdale and the Pink Panthers. There was about 25, 30 of them coming, and
there were 40 women that had all trained together. 20 from Parbold, this amazing kind of crew, and Skelmersdale next to them, and a women-only running crew and a mixed crew training together, and then having the most amazing girls' weekend. And they staying at this glamping that had hot tubs, and were just having this amazing weekend for themselves. And I thought, next year I'm joining them.
Yeah,
but it was. I mean, I know we talk about it's really nice to make a family thing of it, but often that means you get handed your kids on the finish line and get told to mother. The best ones are when you get to go away with your friends to do a race, and then you just get to hang out with your friends on the finish line and don't have to mother. I know my husband's not going to listen to this. This is fine. But yeah, because it's really hard, and sometimes you just want that time to relax. But those women's running groups were absolutely amazing.
Outrageous, no doubt.
And I think, as you're saying about, girls going out in groups, not only to ours, but the ones in Italy. Sorry, I'm supposed to tell you about that one. In Ireland and in Portugal, Greece, Hong Kong. It's you know, as you say, it's a girls' trip away. You know, you just think things happen for a reason. Back in the day, I used to be a holiday rep for 2
Here's
weeks.
a story. Settle in, guys. Love a Huw story.
So I've been speaking with a few of my friends, and we used to work in family units, female friends. And I said, you know, how would you fancy about being a SheUltra guide for the coaches to meet them off the aeroplane or off the ferry, because they're all living in different parts of the country? And I said, yeah, Huw, no problem. Just send us the details and we'll meet. So once again, it's a safe spaces. You all travel, and there's a coach to meet you, which is a SheUltra coach that takes you to the event. You know, and that's
amazing. I'm
lucky in a sense that I've got that previous from another world.
Sign up for my all-you-can-drink buffet. That's so true. Because
imagine that. Because the original plan for the champagne was at halfway as an incentive. And then I spoke with Dean from the local wine shop, and he goes, Huw, I spoke to a few of my suppliers. However, they don't want people falling off Hell's Mouth into the sea. They've had a few things. Lord Mervyn from Abersoch saw this event. He goes, you know, we'd like to donate the Finish Line Fizz, which was like, wow, you know, it's supporting the local community, you know, sort of thing. And but you know, there was non-alcoholic as well. But it was just that. I think Sophie will be able to say there's that kind of atmosphere on the Llŷn Peninsula. When the sun comes out, it's just like, yeah, let's have a bit of a party feel. And then that's going to be replicated whenever next year we start in Abersoch and we finish back in the Mice, where there's going to be bands. I ran out of time in a sense for this year just gone, but we're going to do a procession where all the women walk on the Friday night just for a mile round the Mice and then back again. And it's going to be sort of like, right, we're here and then this is what we're doing. So yeah, it's very exciting.
It all sounds perfect, but any learnings or things that are going to change for next year? I've
been lucky that I've got a very good event team. You know, Caris has been race directing, event directing my wife now for a couple of years. I had my last CT results the Tuesday beforehand. You know, I'm stage 4 inoperable, and in October I had progression on the liver, and it was like, oh shit. You know, already on stage 4, if you got progression, you get to a certain level, and then you've got to have chemo management, which is no shrinking, whatever. That's how it goes. So, as well as setting up this legacy, I'm setting up everything ready for, you know, if when my health does move another direction, that everything's in place. You know, I've always had a kind of, right, let's go as fast as we can at everything, so on. But that urgency is kept up there constantly now. You know, like a lot of people, we go, oh, you know, right, we'll pencil this in for 6 months' time, or we'll do this. You haven't got that time. Even healthy people think, oh, I've got look. You haven't. You know what I mean? Get everything done as soon as you can and act on what you can. So, the learning-wise, some things we weren't able to put into place yet. We're looking to do a crash for next year. You know, everybody's got a tracker. That can be a huge stumbling block. It's a double-edged sword as well. You know, you could get people saying, well, you take the kids then if there's a crash. It's like, as Sophie said, well, hang on, but then sort of thing. So there's ways like that. There's also going to be like the free kit. We also work with a running charity as well. We give a lot of free places to the NHS. Surgery girls who have been doing my bloods and just looking after me for the last 4.5 years. 3 of them took part this year, and 6 of them have had free places already for next year. They're your, you know, shop window. Those are the women that are going to be saying, oh, look, there's a lovely day out. Nothing about ultra running or any of this. It's a day out.
That's the checkpoints.
And, you know, the mums or the aunties or the grannies that are doing it, who are just doing it for the one time, they might inspire their daughter or their, you know, niece. Oh, I'm going to go for a run with my friends or a walk. So the bigger picture is always getting bigger.
Seeing motherhood as an asset and not a hindrance is such an important way to frame that race. I know not everybody would have been a mother on that starting line, but seeing womanhood as an asset and not a hindrance, and you've turned everything into such a positive, Huw. I admire you so incredibly, and Sophie too. Sophie, what about She Races? What's next on the She Races Take Over the World plan?
The Taking Over the World plan, it's gone international. So kind of Huw and I, when we met in Chamonix, I'm on the steering committee of ITRA, the International Trail Running Association, and they released on Women's Day kind of our guidelines to every trail race in the world, and so many more kind of signing up with us, and they don't have to sign up. They just the learnings that happen, and it's all such common sense when you read it on how to just make very small changes to make your event more inclusive. And it's good to get more women on the start line, but we just had Cork Marathon sign up, Chennai in India, really understanding what they're doing on their 10K half marathon. So stepping more into the marathons, I guess it's been very trail heavy because that's what I do. Yeah, I think then looking at triathlons, so we kind of having kind of Outlaw sign up, and they're doing some great work on inclusivity, kind of extending their swim times, for example, or making the swim caps bigger so they fit all types of hair. So there's a huge amount going on. It's a bit crazy. It's a bit manic. And I'm trying to juggle training at the same time, aren't I? So that's really fun. It's incredible. I mean, it's only 2 years old. It's just had the most phenomenal reaction. And we've already seen some real changes at events. Just we're normalizing period products. Being there, just it's like, where are they if they're not there? And the female fit t-shirts and the results and the imagery and just really basic stuff, and just helping race organizers understand how to get more women on the start line, and that we really value information and logistics, and how you break down that nervousness over cutoffs by just putting them in terms of a pace, and say you just need to go this pace for this time, and having them evenly spread over the time. For things like, and Huw said that there's a lot of walkers and hikers who are going to hold that even pace. They're not going to be your average, I say, stereotypical man who sprints the first marathon and then blows up and has to kind of waddle the next 30 miles. Got no trouble saying that, but it is quite true. I mean, some women do it too, but it's generally not the women. So it's amazing, and we're really grateful to everyone who shared it, everyone who's engaged with it. I think it's when you stand on a finish line like SheUltra and you see what completing a challenge like that, what completing an ultra, completing any kind of race means to people, that the fact that I can have a very small part in getting more women to have that in their life, I'm really grateful for.
You made a good point, Sophie, about men burning their matches. You could tell us, Huw, what's the finish percentage for SheUltra?
97%.
There you go.
It was, 486 women started, 15 didn't finish. Awel Bark was one of those, and she set a record for 18 miles for a local 11-year-old. So, I was at the first aid station, seeing people coming out, just taking their time, eating their food, going, "Oh, have you seen what's in the sandwich?" Or, "This is nice, let's take some selfies and stuff," rather than, "Oh, right, she's got to go." And it's like, you're in the moment, because we all know ourselves, like over the years, we've raced different races, and you haven't seen any of the country. You've come back and we go, "Oh, what was that like? What was that like?" I said, "Didn't see anything."
Yeah, well, that's the recce's. I always enjoy the recce's more than the physical race.
Yeah,
I'm so guilty of that. Someone put on the Facebook some Northern Traverse pictures, and I was like, "Nah, don't recognise anything of that."
Yeah. So you do the quick five. Well, we've got six. We're going to do two each. First one for you, Huw. How many cups of coffee do you reckon you drink a day?
Well, after speaking with the doctor, saying, "Oh, am I allowed to drink?" Because I've had open heart surgery and I've got 3 heart valves and I'm on a lot of medication. I said to him, "Am I okay to drink?" Because we've started selling Get Up coffee and stuff. Am I allowed to drink coffee? In my heart. He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What about my heart?" "You've got 3 replacement valves, so if anything, it's stronger than before." Beg your pardon? So race day had about 3, but I try and cut it down to just 2 a week.
2 a week?
Yeah, because imagine this. Imagine all this caffeinated.
Yes, dangerous. Like something out of a Marvel film.
It is.
When you get coffee.
Yeah. Hey, wow, look at that. What? That's paper. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like, let's calm down.
Okay, next one for you, Sophie. You could be any superhero for a month. Who's it going to be?
Oh, no. I should actually know all the superheroes based on the age of my children. Wonder Woman. Can she fly? I'd really like
She
to
can
fly.
jump. She's got a really
she
strong
jump?
jump. Yeah.
Okay, whichever one can fly. I just really like. I used to fly planes when I was a kid because my dad did, and I really miss flying. And it would also get my school run done a lot quicker. So
pick them up, fly. Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine how quick that would be to do the drop-offs and everything?
I mean, their hair could be a little bit wild, but I'm in for that. Just the food shop, anything really.
Oh, just I mean, or anything that would like make my just time. Anyone can make time. Is there one that can make time stop? And I could just get all my stuff done and then press play again.
The Flash, you could do something with time.
Yeah.
I'd like that because I need about 30 hours in my day and I do not have 30 hours. So yeah, if I could do that, that'd be great.
Time woman.
Did I show you the size of the coffee that I drink twice a week? I just empty out throughout the week.
Well, we're going to go really political now. We've got Kia and Rishi having a debate ahead of the probably upcoming election. They're going to ban all science fiction films, Huw, apart from one, and it can't be Star Wars. Which one are you going to keep? Which one can we enjoy forever and ever?
Oh.
Can't be Star Wars.
On that one, I could have done some heavy research. Science fiction film.
A genre. It could be Star Trek.
It's got to be Space 2001. Is it 2001? What was the one? Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, they predicted the future, didn't they?
Classic.
More politics, Sophie. Kia and Rishi are at it again. They really want us to keep fit, and we know how much you love going to the gym. Well, they can only buy one exercise machine for every gym in the country. Which one are you going to choose?
What exercise machine?
Yeah, it could be dumbbells or it could be free weights. What's your favorite? What's your go-to exercise?
So I've got a lovely set of free weights and dumbbells because my gym's in I've got one in the house and it's in the eaves. So you've got no flat things to put the cables. But I'll be honest, I love a cable machine.
Oh yeah.
I love those big fancy ones. So you get in the fancy gyms that have the ones go from either side that you can pull down and you can't injure yourself. And you've got the leg thing. Every time I go to a fancy gym, I always go straight to that. But quite like a watt bike as well. I do love a watt bike workout when you can just sit in front of the TV and just pedal your legs around. So yeah, cable machine and a watt bike, just because I'd like to.
Rule breaker.
I have two. I'd have said another film, Sophie. But maybe because of your superpowers that you've got from the first question,
I could have as many as I want.
You've gone back in the time and changed the question options to two. We can see that.
Well, I get 5 then.
Oh my God, did you do that so quickly?
I don't know if I want to ask this one, Eddie. We're not going to judge Huw. Do you take your smartphone into the toilet with you?
I take this with me everywhere. Everywhere. It's like imagine walking around without your nose. It's another sense. So my mobile phone goes with me everywhere, and I obey it.
Obey the phone.
Obey the phone.
Awesome. Well, Sophie, every week we share the podcast over on Instagram and we can choose a song to go with that Instagram story. You get the choice of song this week.
I should have known this because I listen to podcasts every week. And did I think about this before? No, I didn't. But can I let Eddie choose? Because I like Taylor Swift and Eddie will find a really good Taylor Swift song. I challenge Eddie can choose the best Taylor Swift song to because she's like the ultimate female empowerment
choose
singer.
The theme tune from the start of the SheUltra.
Hang on, what was that?
Choose. Nobody can see this.
I should remember that.
It was Florence and the Machine. Dog Days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go. Let's go for that. That's Huw is the chief, and it's a great song. Yeah, that and then Taylor Swift.
Awesome, perfect.
Love a bit of Florence and the Machine more than Taylor Swift. Sorry, I'm not. Her new album is not hitting the spot.
It's rubbish.
Yeah, it's too much. It's not running. It's not running.
She listens.
It's not running music.
It's not running.
Yeah, definitely not.
Does she listen, Gary? Does she listen?
Oh, yeah. She was at the SheUltra. She's big.
She's a Patreon member.
What is she? Who is she? Is she a runner or what does she do?
Yeah, she's a runner.
Is she the first billionaire pop star?
She's
She
a
sings and
young
runs at the same time.
sock star. Pop star.
Pop star.
Pop star.
Oh, Huw and Sophie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Absolute treat. We always rate our interviews on cheek ache. And even though we're talking about quite like an important topic, serious topic, we had moments of really good reflection. I still smiled throughout that because both of you bring such joy. The work that you do most selflessly, I feel such a lesser being when you are both talking, that you give up so much time, not just your own time, but your mental space as well, thinking about how you're going to help others. And that is just incredible. And I shall aim to be more like both of you, and you, Huw, especially. Be more Huw. I think we need to have that at the ending of our podcast. Incredible. And we look forward to seeing She Races and SheUltra going from I'm longing to be the rep that meets people off the coach in Alicante. Best of luck to both of you with your next projects, and keep in touch. Big love.
Bye.
Bye. That was sensational. You know, anything that enables people to do something that they didn't think was possible gets a massive thumbs up from me.
We are here for that.
And they raise a ton of cash too. So win-win. Awesome. Strava. Thanks, Silver Sweden, for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trails. Don't forget, patrons can save a handsome 20% off over at silversweden.uk. Jason Livesey, 60.7 miles with the longest run of 15.3 and a total elevation of 8,796 feet. Looks like a solid week, Jason. Some gym work, some easy miles, a hill session, and a long run.
Jason, 5-star from the Tree and Trails podcast.
And Alistair Courtney, 78.3 miles, the longest run of 18.6 and 4,308 feet of elevation. What a week. Wow. So Alistair, he's a cyclist too. So over 20 hours of exercise. All in all, 266 self-propelled miles. You know what that is, Eddie?
That's a heavy flex, Gary.
A heavy flex. David Snedden. 58.7 miles with the longest run of 52.6 with a total elevation.
Was that a bit of fling? Bit of fling action?
Possibly, yes. Well, David's a request to follow, so not too sure what he's been up to. But kudos. 52.6 miles, total elevation, 7,602 feet.
Did you see Elsie Davis, former guest of the show, broke the Highland Fling course record, which I think was held by Beth Pascal? Incredible. Just over 7.5 hours.
She's got some speed.
She's got some speed.
I think, if you are, obviously she was a high level road marathon runner and now she's got some success on the trails too. You just mix those two ingredients
Do you
together.
compare yourself a lot with her, Gary? Do you see so many similarities between your marathon and your trail running journey?
Now that you mention it, our journeys mirror each other. But definitely for a course like the Fling, when you just combine those skills, then it leads to great results. Kudos to all our Strava Club members. Love seeing what's going on over there. And you did point out, actually, Eddie, I do seem to monopolise tales from the trails. But I will invite you in your I know you love an accent, in your finest northern accent. We need to go higher than Yorkshire, though. Need to go a little bit further north.
Tales from the trails.
The gravitas, I loved it.
Was it good?
Could be like a Marks and Spencer's advert, that.
Did it give you tingles? My kids are really good at accents because they're bilingual. I think they really can hear the different accents. And English, the amount of accents in England blows their mind. They just are like, and they can just they make me laugh so much because they can mimic it so well. So jealous because mine is just a constantly international accent for every single.
I try to do Gary's, talking about below deck again. Try to do Gary's. I cannot do a South African accent.
South African. It's a bit more.
Oh, nailed it. He keeps saying baby girl, doesn't he? Baby girl.
Oh, it's so creepy. Stop talking about below deck. We're meant to be doing a professional trail running podcast.
Sorry.
Right. Do you want me to read the deals from the trail?
This is your bit.
This is my bit, my time to shine. Dear Eddie and Gary, I've tried to keep it brief but failed. Here is my tales from the trails. Just over a year ago, I was training for the London Marathon and was struggling to find routes for long runs. I met another runner called Sarah through an online running club who lived locally to me and offered to show me some routes. Oh dear, I hope this, gosh. So one fateful Saturday, we met and ran, chatting away. I mentioned after the marathon I wanted to get into more trail running, but was too worried about doing it on my own. She told me she loved the trails and was actually training for her first ultra, so would show me some good trail routes near us. The very same run, she also told me about a podcast that would definitely get me into trail and ultra running. I told her I'd listened, but there was no way I was ever doing an ultra. I binged the first few episodes from the beginning and finally got to Eddie's spine episode. After this, inspired by Eddie, I said to Sarah, go on then, let's find an ultra. In January this year, I turned 40 and thought an ultra in my 40th year sounds like a good idea. Pulled a few of my other running buddies together and we all agreed we'd sign up for the lap in May 2024. Since signing up, we've done a Wild Deer 55k UK ultra as a training run, my first ultra when I really got the bug after having the best day. We've had amazing days out doing Yorkshire Three Peaks, the Bridges to Boundaries ultra in Newcastle and Manchester Marathon. We've all had a group chat going where we stress about kit and training, discuss fuel options. There is nothing salted roast potatoes and mini muffins can't fix, and get excited about what we can eat and drink post-race. This sounds like a good WhatsApp group chat to me. I've learned so much about training in this time, but more importantly, I've learned just how amazing it is having this group of people to train, commiserate, celebrate with. We've all been through highs and lows whilst training and racing. I'm beyond excited for crossing the finishing line in 2 weeks with these amazing people, who aren't only my running group, but just the best friends now too. I'm excited for the lap, but more excited for whatever we decide to conquer next. Sarah, our media team, Jackie, Chris, Dan, Sam, Darren, and Chris's mum and wife as our amazing support crew on pretty much every race. Thanks for being amazing, inspiring, and pushing me every day. Let's get to that finish line. Be ready for the tears and sweaty hugs. Good luck, team. Tina's Tatties. We've got this. Lots of love, Katie. Owned by a whippet who sometimes lets me sit on his couch. Thank you both. Love the pod. Oh, what a story. Thank you. I love it. I love the way you just met somebody. Just need some roots for my road running training. She led you to the dark side. Oh, keep in touch, Katie.
Listen to a podcast.
Keep in touch, Katie, and let us know how you get on in the lap, because that is in only a week or so's time now. You got this. Thanks again, Silver, for sponsoring Tales from the Trails. We love sharing your Tales from the Trails. Keep them coming. Please email them to trails.com. Gary will then forward them on to me, and I'll spend about 6 days till I reply.
If people think I'm ghosting, I never reply to Brew with the Coaches or Tea with the Trails. I leave it as a surprise, unless I need to ask a question. I thought, oh yeah.
So they're there. We read them. Oh, I hear that on podcasts too. Oh, we read every message. Yeah, bet you do.
We've got another 5-star review. Favorite running podcast. Absolutely love this podcast. Only recently found it and I've enjoyed binging on all episodes. Absolutely gutted now I'm caught up and actually have to wait for each new episode. Gary and Eddie crack me up. Just love their patter and listening to all their stories and knowledge. So many inspirational guests, and I've learned so much listening to Brew with the Coaches. I felt inspired to run my first ultra a few weeks ago, and it was as if I had my friends running with me, listening to a couple of episodes. Thank you, Gary and Eddie. Keep up the great work. Porky 46 via Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for that. I love it. Love it.
Do you think we could get a below deck guest or a former employee on the podcast? Can you?
I wonder if you've got anybody who is, it's quite hard for somebody to look at themselves and think, yeah, I'm famous. But anyone who was like, if you asked Tom Hanks, are you famous? He'd go, I'm famous. If anybody who is legit famous listens to the podcast.
What do you count as legit famous?
Who would be legit?
Legit famous in your book? Because I'm thinking like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
Oh.
Scarlett Johansson, Gary Lineker, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Because can you imagine, like, legit famous, you literally couldn't walk down the street. David Beckham,
Yeah.
like, how does he even live? How does he even, like, oh my gosh, I've run out of milk, I'm going to quickly pop, like.
A lot of people are quite famous within their niche. Like when you see these reality shows, they're like, who the hell is that? But they are pretty famous within their niche. But there are some people out there, like if you saw Chris Eubank, then yeah, everyone knows who. Steve Cram, these household faces. I wonder if
Paula
you're out
Radcliffe,
there.
she probably listens because she likes running.
She
probably
binges.
she probably listens to get some sessions from you and stuff.
Yeah. 2020. Right, we've deviated again. Oh, you might remember a few weeks ago we had a competition, Hellfire Events, Backyard Ultra. We've got the competition winners. First out of the hat, or the random wheel spinner, was Dave Todd, followed by Ian Watson. Well done, guys. Yeah, thanks to everyone who liked and shared the competition, and all our legend patrons too. I will reach out, Dave and Ian. And if you would like a place, I understand, it's quite a big commitment, these backyard ultras, and obviously there's geography involved too. But yeah, if you would like to take up the place, then I will connect you with the team over at Hellfire Events. Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Hellfire Events for supporting the competition too. And this week, Suntour is supplying the prize for the competition. I am currently reviewing, unboxing, whatever the stage of the review is, a pair of Suntour Wing bone conducting headphones. Yeah, it's a great prize, and one lucky legend patron or above will be the winner. And once I've finished reviewing them, we'll pick a legend patron at random, pack them up and get them shipped off as soon as possible. Well, I think we've had a bit of chit chat, but I think we've been quite concise this week, Eddie.
Are you joking? We have gone off on below deck tangents. Who would we class as really famous? Does anybody really famous listen to the podcast?
True.
True. Those are the best bits, though, aren't they? Nobody really cares.
No one cares about the 2020s, do they?
2020. What is your first session back going to be? Because I've been thinking about that, like probably another week of easy running. Then I was like, what is my first session going to be? What's yours going to be?
I think it's 3 times 8 minutes. So it's 3 times 8 or 3 times 10 minutes. Generous recovery, I think about 3 minutes recovery. So that's going to be the first. Then there's going to be some about a trail 8 miler, but with some strides in there too, and a nice easy long run. So that 3 times 8 minutes or 10 minutes, probably 8. I don't want to go 10. First proper week of training, so I'll probably lean on the 8. See how I feel, actually. It might start off with an 8 and finish on a 10. Might go 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Or 10, 9, 8. Well, yeah, 10, 9, 8.
I'd do 10, 8, 6, but, who am I to? I'd start off progressive warm-up, then I'd probably do like 12 minutes steady, quite a bit slower than what you want to do, and then I do a 10, 8, 6.
We'll see next week what I do.
Good form. Yeah, you're not going to do that because you'll listen to Garmin over me. We all know that.
No more Garmin. They're dead to me.
What? How are you going to get your sessions?
I know, yeah. I've got to actually program them in manually. I'm still learning the Suntour.
How exhausting.
It's gone. Sold it on eBay. It went.
Jeez, you are cutthroat. Quite handy to have 2 watches, though, when
Lisa
you do the
did
Northern Traverse.
Yeah, it's quite a luxury, doesn't it? It's quite an expensive bit of kit. So if somebody can use it, then it's probably better for that watchtower new home. What you got coming up?
What you got coming up? Back in the gym, Gary. Gym is taking precedence over running at the moment. I'm only allowed to run once a day. I can only run once a day because I'm so stiff after one run. So my little plan this week is an hour or so run in the morning as I feel. No, not wearing my watch. I just put it on Strava on my phone. So I have a little log of the miles. Not interested in any data. I thought, should I put my heart rate monitor on? But then I was like, no, I don't care if it goes a bit high, a bit low. Damn, easy breezy, Gary. Loosey goosey. So going to try and build my running back up between 7 and 9. Yeah, it's a loose figure. Who cares? Just run every day, basically. See how I feel. But 3 gyms, done 1 already. Felt good. Going to do another one today. Get ahead of the game because
I love that.
I know, I love being ahead of the game because I've got a busy end of week, so don't want to do it at the weekend. When that I did done it at the weekend a couple of times, and just going to the gym just causes anxiety at home. I can go for a run, but it just seems like mum actually leaving in the car to go to the gym causes such a lot of organisation. Can't be bothered, Gary. So I'm going to try and fit them all in during the week, and just not to get a bit giddy that snow is clearing, the tracks are clearing. I get up in the mountains, just be patient. Did I tell you I went to the chiropractor? You know, I was saying, oh, my foot hurts.
You mentioned it. Yeah, I didn't know you'd been, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I went to see him, the big Australian. He lay on me a few times and cracked my back. Finley likes coming with me so he can just watch my pain face. So
can he hear the cracks?
He hears the cracks. He goes, breathe, Eddie. And then he goes, "Choo." And like,
oh, my goodness.
He said I was
Maybe I
going
should
to
do that on my neck.
You would like, because, you know, like sometimes my neck gets so stiff I can't turn around. He's so good. He said I was in pretty good shape, but I said, oh, my foot feels like it's just like slapping. And he said, oh, your arch has collapsed. Your arch isn't sitting right in your foot. He did something terrible to me, Gary. Oh my God, I don't know what I would do.
I would have thought I would have seen that. You know, when we did the recce and you were trying to smoke us
this
all.
is during the race. This isn't like my normal, where my foot normally sits. It just like flattened during the run, because he was able to then, like, he got in my arch and pick it back up. And that took, because I was feeling pain down one of my metatarsals. Anyway, picked my arch back up, did some like manipulation up my legs, up my tendons. It's so painful.
He's like a shaman. I love it.
And then he was like, you need to roll your foot because that plantar fascia is so tight. So I've religiously been rolling my foot and the pain's gone. The pain is gone. So I'm really happy with that. And I'm really happy that because I don't like going to see him because it does really hurt. I have to really so I put off going to see him, but I'm so glad I did, because I would have carried on running on that foot that wasn't working, basically wasn't going through the foot. And I could feel that, you know, we know our bodies, don't we? So I'm really happy that is back. And I just need to not get lazy with my stretching and my foot rolling and all those other bits, because everything is still rusty. So I just need to keep going on the old yoga, downward dog, stretching, not sitting on Zoom for 5 hours.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. Oh my gosh, this is the week.
This is the week, yeah. Lakeland 100 training starts. I think, races like 100 milers, these big races, you're kind of constantly training for them. You know, all these things that you do over the years.
Life is training for these 100 milers.
A bit more structure. I will start looking at, I'm not too sure which training plan I'm going to look at, but I'll start looking at a training plan. A few easy gym sessions, just to remind the guns and buns what's going on. Need to start doing that. Yeah, I went, I don't think I've been at all this week, and I'm not. Not planning on it. But yeah, next week we'll be on it. And yeah, long run, easy runs, a workout, and some strides is my goal. Maybe a medium, flattish long run too. We'll see. Because I think one thing going forward, maybe for Lakeland 100, with the Garmin plan, because it was road focused, it didn't have that medium long run, but it had basically 3 workouts every week, and some of them were quite large.
Yeah, you can't recover from 3.
No.
You can't.
Well, yeah, although it was fine on race day. Well, who knows? Maybe I could have went faster with a different training plan. Who knows? Definitely week after week after week. I said it all the time. I was super, super tight, so I was never really fully recovered. So definitely I will not be doing 3 workouts. So I might even just do 1 workout session and then this medium long run and whatever the weekend brings. But if, say, some weekends it's a back-to-back kind of Saturday and Sunday run, then I will ditch that medium long run too. That is that. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I do feel quite energized. All County Tops is freaking me out a bit because I've paid absolutely no attention to that whatsoever. I'm in pretty good shape, Wow, just trying to...
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Ran a decent marathon and I haven't gone to complete rack and ruin since Manchester, which is something I would normally do. So not in too bad a shape, just haven't got those mountain legs that I'm going to need. My quads, my goodness me, after All County Tops, my quads are going to be screaming. But yeah, pumped. Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration and Silver Sweden for sponsoring this week's show. Use the code T24 for 15% off your first order over at Precision Fuel and Hydration. And thanks to our partners and Patreons too. Yeah, we say it all the time, but we really 100% mean this. We really couldn't do this without you and all your ongoing support.
Be kind to your future self. Breathe and believe. Progress, not perfection. Keep your shield high. Hope you all have a great weekend. My name is Eddie Sutton.
And my name is Gary Thwaites.
That was episode 69 of the Tea and Trails podcast.